Okay, good morning, guys. Drinking a cup of the coffee's called Fat Cup. So I got a fat cup for my fat cup. Good stuff. Also, some homemade banana bread with chocolate chips. Not too bad. First time making this. So I mentioned in my last long form video that I had a big problem installing that railing, and I was going to talk about it more in depth on one of these daybreak shows. I'm not even sure what I'm going to be calling that yet. That seems to be working, so I'm going to stick with that. And what I'm trying not to do here is literally just tell stories about myself, because I feel like, I don't know, nobody wants to listen to someone talk about themselves for how long it is. So I'm trying to incorporate something in here, like a lesson learned or something. I don't know. Maybe I will just talk about myself. Maybe. I don't know. So I went to go install this railing at my girlfriend's parents' house, and it was a disaster, right? Suppose I could go into the technicalities of it, but I kind of woke up a little later this morning, so I'm not going to have as long. But basically, if you ever attach anything into concrete, you're going to know there's a few ways to do it. One of the most common ways is to drill a hole and use wedge anchors. So this railing I designed with 4 different holes for each leg. You had to drill 4 holes, drop the wedge anchors in, and then ideally the railing would just drop into the wedge anchors, and then you could bolt them, screw the nut on, and make it tight, and everything should be flush and ready to go. However, that is not the case. I went to go drill the holes. Apparently I didn't drill the holes very straight. One of her younger brothers comes up to me after I installed the wedge anchors, and he's like, "Gage, why are those things in there crooked?" And I'm like, well, you know what? It's probably because I drilled the holes crooked. So surprise, surprise, when I went to go test fit the railing on the wedge anchors, none of the holes lined up. Everything was all crisscrossed and wonked out, so I had to do something. And at this point I was feeling so bad because there's a brand new concrete slab they poured, and I just drilled a bunch of crooked holes into it that could potentially be there forever. I know you could fill it back in. The hard part would be getting the wedge anchors out, because if anyone has ever installed wedge anchors before, you'd know that they're pretty much permanent. Unless you're going to drill out more concrete around it, you're not removing those things, just by the nature of the design. So I tried a bunch of other stuff to line these up, like drilling the holes larger. I tried hammering the wedge anchors to like straighten them out, a few other things, but the final thing that ended up working, and what I'm not actually super proud of, is we called her grandfather up, who used to be a welder, and he had a little flux core like 110 welder that we brought over to the shop. And what I ended up doing is, once after I re-drilled the holes in the railing feet, it would just barely slide over to where you could see probably 1 or 2 threads, but not enough to actually thread onto the bolt. So what I did, I just welded the railing straight to the wedge anchors, which is probably one of the jankiest things I've ever done in my life. I'm not super proud of it, but it went in and it was semi-straight, square to the ground. So what did I learn from this? I mean, this happened 2 or 3 weeks ago, and as time went on, I'm feeling a little better about the situation, but I'm still like super embarrassed. I mean, their whole family was out there just watching me trying to put this thing in, and they're like, "Do you need any help?" and stuff like that. So it was really embarrassing. So I think one of the biggest things is a lack of planning. That would have been only my second time in my entire life attaching something to concrete, and I didn't have enough experience to really know how to do that. So what I should have been doing is, doing a lot of research and trying to understand how this works, maybe even do a couple practice pieces and trying to install a few practice pieces. Didn't do any of that, just showed up with a few tools and figured I could wing it. That is not the case. The second thing is, it's going to seem kind of counterintuitive, because a lot of people are like, don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to, it'll get better or whatever. And I don't mean to sound, I don't know what the word is, like a mean person, but I feel like being hard on yourself is really good at times. In this specific time, I think it was because I was so hard on myself that like I said, for 2 weeks, that's the only thing I could think of is, what did I go wrong? If I need to go back and fix this, how can I fix it? And that's when I started doing all the research, right? After the fact. But let me tell you now, after those 2 weeks are done, I'm not an expert, because I haven't done it yet, but I have a broad range of knowledge of how to install things, how to fix them if they go wrong. Way more knowledge than what I had originally going into this project. So being hard on yourself gives you that extra like boost, that extra push, that extra motivation to figure out and get stuff done. And I don't think that's something you can just learn, so to speak. Like with practice, being hard on yourself, right? It's kind of like a feeling that needs to like come within you. It's, you know, a lot of these guys that I work with, they don't care. They've been working in this place for whatever they say, 35 plus years, right? And they're like, well, I'm so fed up with all the bull that I just don't care anymore. And I come in, I've only been working there for like 2 years, and I literally care about every step of the process. Like if I make a mess, I want to sweep that up, clean it up. These guys will leave their mess for the whole year, like, until someone tells them to clean it up. I take pride in my work, which everyone should. Sometimes those guys don't really do that, right? So it's like I said, it's like almost like a personality trait. Like it's like just wanting to do the right thing, right? I mean, if I didn't really have that trait, I wouldn't have cared about the railing that much, as much as I did, and I wouldn't have tried to go back and learn everything. I don't know if that makes sense. If anyone has ever had a girlfriend and had to go meet their parents for, maybe it's the first time, maybe you get that feeling like, whatever, am I not good enough? I know I'm good enough. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of hard to explain. But let me know down in the comments if anyone has actually made it this far in the video. If you know what I'm saying. It's more like a feeling. You just gotta feel it out, you know? So hopefully the next time I go to do a project like this, I will have learned from my mistake previously, and I will do better. Maybe you guys will too. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a nice rest of your cup of coffee, and have a great day. Thanks for watching. See you next time.